Hi, Stuart. Welcome to hashtag Education Day. I have been looking forward to this time with you. I know you're as passionate as I am when it comes to education and global initiatives. For those of you who don't know Stuart Udell, CEO of Prometric, he's on this journey with us to make sure that we are supporting and embracing education around the world. This is a conversation that I know we are going to have a good time with. When we start thinking about Education Day, I wonder, Stuart, if you might share a little bit about your own journey. You've always been really passionate and committed to education, and I'd love everyone who's joining us today to learn a little bit about what that story is.
Sure. Well, thank you, Debbie. It's a pleasure to be here and to be part of Education Day and join such an important initiative and effort. My education journey was a little bit accidental. I was in graduate school studying business, and quite frankly, when I looked around at what was out there in terms of other opportunities, I was not that excited in consumer packaged goods or consulting or working on Wall Street. To me, I wanted something that was a little bit more mission oriented, where I could look back 40 years later and say, wow, I had a little bit of an impact. I ended up answering a job ad for an educational services organization. And that was the beginning of my world. Now, looking backwards, though, it made a lot of sense because when I look
Mhm.
at my family, my mom was an administrator in my school district, and
Oh,
my
wow.
dad ran a third generation family business. So it made a lot of sense to look at that cross section or that intersection of education and business. I've since spent my whole career in this space. I've been the CEO of now five education companies, culminating, of course, in Prometric, which I'm super excited about. But I also think it's really important for all executives in this space to also spend time in the nonprofit world. So as you know, have long been involved in the National Dropout Prevention Center, which
Yes.
actually, despite its title, is international in scope, trying to keep more kids in school. I work with the Successful Practices Network to look for how to emulate best practices in schools that are working well, really across the nation and the globe. And lastly, have been involved in the 2025 National Learning Commission for Equity, because it's really important to make sure that all kids, regardless of race, ethnicity, socioeconomic
Mhm.
background, religion, but all kids have an opportunity to access a great education and to access all of the opportunities that comes
Yes.
with a great education.
Yes. I mean, it's really, if you think about it, it's always been in your blood. We've been fortunate to spend time together and to hear that that journey even started with your family. It brings me back to myself as thinking about, even teaching at that Raggedy Ann blackboard when I was young and dragging my younger brother in, like really always having a calling to educate and to teach. And what's so amazing about your journey with that is not only did that start with your family, as you've worked through your professional journey, you've come to places where that's the mission and that is the purpose. I think about what we're doing at Prometric, so incredibly proud of how we look at the importance of education for folks who are new to a Prometric. And I know a lot of
Yes.
people are joining us today and great followers and partners with us, but talk a little bit maybe about what that mission of education feels like at Prometric, because you've been leading that and really helping us shout that from the rooftops.
Well, I'm glad you talked about the word mission because we are very, very mission oriented. While we have a business purpose, of course, we do good. We do well as a byproduct of doing good. So connecting to
Right.
mission is really, really important. Our mission is rooted in building the workforce of tomorrow. That's really the way we think about things, and we think about building the workforce as a journey, starting all the way back in school, perhaps even elementary school, but certainly middle and high school all the way through, your early jobs and your college, your early jobs and your certifications and such down the road. Prometric is, I'd say, the global leader in skills development and credentialing. We operate in a number of domains. First, in the professional certification space. So if you need licensure for your job, or if you need to, get certain credentials or certifications, we provide those certifications for about 1,400 exams for about 400 clients in the areas of healthcare, financial services, government services, academia. So that's kind of the first big part of what we do. Secondly, we work in the K-12 space because we think
Yes.
it's very important in any domain of education to take it back to K-12. When we talk to our clients, even folks who are involved with, trading securities on Wall Street or, emergency medical technicians in the Middle East, they all say things like, I want to make sure that kids know about these career
Yes.
opportunities at an earlier age. So we're doing a lot of work in
Yes.
K-12 education. We also do a fair bit of work in language education. First in English language, which is one of the languages kind of most commonly used around the world for business purposes
Right.
and for economic development purposes. But we also do Japanese language certification. So language, particularly key languages, is the way to access education in other parts of the world. And lastly, we have lots of consumer offerings. So while we work with hundreds of clients delivering more than 1,000 exams, we also offer a lot of our own exams in English language, in food safety, in insurance, and in construction management, and a variety of other domains. The last thing I'd say is we're truly a global organization. So we
Yes.
offer certification exams in 161 countries around the world, largely in North America, but also in the Middle East, in Europe, in Asia, being our major markets, but also a little bit now in Africa, in Latin America, and South America. So we're a global business in that regard. And we also think a lot about innovation. So while we're always innovating. It's part of what we do. As we all know, artificial intelligence has created an inflection point in every industry in the world. But while AI can, improve education through personalization and individualization, which is really awesome, we also have to make sure that we're validating skill acquisition in a
Absolutely.
way that is important because we don't know what all those inputs look like anymore with AI.
Absolutely.
So we're really spending a lot internally and clearly are the leader in the space in terms of driving AI into the way we build assessments and items, the way we catalog and align those items, the way we score those assessments, and the way we build security into testing so that we know it's valid. It's a valid measure of really critical skills.
Yeah, the smile on my face, I can't help because we definitely are on a mission. Like you said, there are so many things that you just talked about, and you think about as a mission of looking at global education. We're doing that from school to the journey for a candidate to the career that they're pursuing to the way we use technology to innovate. There is no piece that I feel like Prometric's not touching. So as you were doing all that, my smile just kept getting bigger and bigger because I thought, we will not rest. We will not stop. We will keep thinking
That's
about,
right.
right, how to do this, how to keep doing this. I think that's probably why this was such a good match for us when we think about hashtag Education Day. Why was this? I can't even imagine what your schedule looks like. And you're globally traveling and you're supporting all of our clients and our partners as is the whole team. Why was this important, do you think, for Prometric to sponsor?
Well, look, education is the global democratizer, right? When we really talk about how we take, very importantly, individuals and allow them to upskill so that they can access opportunity and all the things that come with economic opportunity, like, great healthcare and
Yes.
longevity of life and the ability to, build families. That's at the individual level. But when you take the collection of all those well-educated individuals and put them together, now we're talking about building entire communities, entire workforces, really entire nations. And in the flattening of the world, we know what technology allows us to do. Education is the critical ingredient in building both individuals and those communities and those economies. So yeah, to me, it's just absolutely
It's all
critically
connected,
important.
right? It's
Yeah,
all connected. I think,
there's
the
no
way that,
question. And we're also talking about, again, the connection of K-12 education with
yes.
higher education, with industry and workforce opportunity. And that is, the really powerful combination that now enables, again, both individuals and entire communities and
Mhm.
nations to
Mhm.
access a different level of opportunity.
And the connections for communities has always been something that you've been passionate about. That if we look at what education can do to give opportunities to young people, to people on that candidate journey, those young people, those candidates, they come back, right? And they affect that community. They grow the community.
That's right.
They look at the workforce of the future. I think, if we stopped and we felt, how education, how this work, how these connections create a more peaceful environment, right? The really almost that kind of deep, passionate piece of what can this do for even helping people to connect more, to be more empathetic, to be more part of a humanitarian even type of mission. What's your thoughts a little bit about what education does as the root for that when it comes to peace?
Well, look, I think it's part of the reason we've stepped, wholeheartedly into K-12 education
Yeah.
because we've got to start younger, and certainly academic
Yes.
skills are critical. We need great readers, we need great mathematicians, we need great writers, we need kids who understand science at an early age. That is critically important. But if next to those academic skills, we secondly infuse workforce skills, so it's not too young in middle and high school to start to think about, I think I'm interested in a career in healthcare. What does that look like? What are the requisite skills I need in that area? So we're thinking a lot about how to innovate career and
Hmm.
technical education in the
Hmm.
middle and high school level, and potentially even back to the elementary school level. So we've got the academic skills, we have the workforce skills, but then we think about those durable skills that are everlasting, as you're
Yes.
talking about, that can lead to peace and much bigger things. So we're talking about teamwork and collaboration and what it's work, communication skills and how to
Mhm.
work, with empathy and how to work in a connected environment, a truly global environment. So that's why working with hashtag Education Day and Peace Day is so important.
Yeah, it does all come full circle, right? If we are not only thinking about what, the latest technology can do for innovation, if we're not only thinking about what, new ways of getting certification or credentialization, but if we're also thinking about how we interact as humans, how we communicate, how we work together, and how we can use our mission to help that does truly lead to a peaceful, universe, really, when you think about it. And
There's
we're
no
really
question.
blessed to be at Prometric with you, with everyone in this Prometric family, because I think it is in our DNA that idea that education is the global uniter. For folks that want to learn more about us, Stuart, and want to reach out to us, what's the best way for people who are new to Prometric and this mission? How do they do that?
Well, the easiest thing, of course, is to go to www.prometric.com. We've got a great new website that just
We
launched
do.
last month.
We
There's a
do.
lot of resources there, certainly. So
Yes.
you can see what conferences we'll be at, like IATP, I think now, and the
Yes.
ATP conference coming up in March, ASU GSV in April. But we also have, fantastic white papers, webinars that are archived with also new great webinars coming up. In fact, I think our next webinar is with our Chief Academic Officer, Nikki
Yes.
Etchell, who will be talking
Mhm.
about really innovative things in the world of virtual reality as
Mhm.
applied to education and career training. So
Mhm.
there's a lot there. I think that's the best place
I
to.
think they can definitely more than find us. Stuart, I would spend all day talking to you, and I have felt so blessed just to have this conversation with you today. It's so apparent that it's in your heart when it comes to peace, when it comes to education, and everything that not only you represent at Prometric, but for all of us. So I want to thank you for spending some time with me today, and I want to thank everyone for joining us and listening to this truly heartfelt convo.
Wonderful. Thank you, Debbie. It's always a pleasure. I appreciate you, and I'll look forward to watching some of the other fantastic speakers as well.
Absolutely.